Welcome to the CoinSec podcast. On this week's episode, we talk about how cryptojacking appears to be fading at the moment, but we also detail a more advanced piece of cryptojacking malware. We talk about how to spot a bad coin in regards to mining, security, etc. Lastly, Steve gives us a Digibyte primer. All that and more on episode number 26 of the CoinSec podcast.
You want to secure your assets.
We can crack the wallet.
Oh, we've done it before.
We've got rigs, character adversary, attribution mode.
With our private keys combined.
Building some kind of blockchain super weapon.
There's just a number of vulnerabilities that are in the smart contracts.
Math. It's probably secure.
They all secretly mine cryptocurrency.
What coin can I trust? Which one is cryptographically secure?
Don't roll your own crypto. CoinSec podcast. Welcome to episode number 26 of the CoinSec podcast. CoinSec podcast is a podcast about cryptocurrency and blockchain technologies with a focus on securing them. Don't let the hum of our dual-purpose crypto miner / password crackers in the background disrupt your listening pleasure. I'm your host, Bo Bullock, and today I have with me to help co-host Mr. Mike Felch. What's going on, Mike?
Hey, what's happening?
Welcome. How's life in the desert?
It's good. I actually feel a little bit of air conditioner here in the office because my rig won't stay powered on because I overclocked the GPUs and it keeps throwing my breaker. So, yeah.
Nice. I saw that you had some fun with the neighbors recently.
Yes, dude. So we moved into this place and the neighbors decided, I guess, to have a wireless access point that says I watch my neighbors sleep. And so I basically went around the neighborhood and triangulated the signal, and it was actually my direct neighbors, which happens to tower over my bedroom, which is kind of creepy.
That is super creepy.
Yeah, so I just reverse addressed, looked them up, doxed them, and then I spun up a access point that says, I watch Shoemaker watch me sleep because that's their last name. So
oh, man.
Hopefully this will introduce us to them.
That is hilarious.
Yeah.
Or you should have just changed it. I like it when Shoemaker watches me sleep.
I could, but you can only broadcast an AP with like 32 characters.
Oh,
so
okay.
I had to like shrink it.
Back on your snafu, I guess. Well, we'll talk about that in a minute. We'll circle back to your mining. I want to talk about your rig.
Okay.
And that would be Mr. Steve Borosh. What's going on, Steve?
The one and the only.
The one and only.
Presenting myself for your listening pleasure.
Welcome, sir.
Hello.
We've also got Ralph May, who we hit him on all fronts to get him to get on the show today. He was gonna bail on us, but we texted him, hit him on chat, on everything we could possibly find, and he showed up.
That is not true. First of all, this was a snafu, and I didn't realize that we were doing it a little early today, but I do appreciate you ensuring that I'm still alive at this point. So, yeah.
I was worried, to be honest.
Yeah.
Literally the second before you jumped on, I swear I said, yep, okay, Ralph's dead. Let's move on.
Yeah, and then you were like, wonder where he stored his Bitcoins.
So maybe I should go drive over to his house and check on him.
Yeah, exactly. Let me check his computer. He could be inside of it.
You better leave that to one of us in your will or something, man.
Yeah.
Don't know what to do with my Bitcoins, I swear.
My wife started hitting me up with instructions in case of my demise.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
So she won't be the cause of your demise to get those coins, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, hey, can marrying anybody. Well, I hope not.
That actually just reminded me. This is completely off subject thing, but I was thinking about. So there's a metal band that the lead singer hired a hitman to kill his wife a few years ago, and it just reminded me because last night I was on Reddit and I saw somebody post in the shower thoughts thread. They were saying the ultimate sport is to hire a hitman on yourself and then prepare for battle.
That's weird.
Anyways,
that's like hunting humans. That's serious stuff, dude.
Yeah. Or Hitman versus Hitman, and then let them battle it out.
Is that illegal? I wonder. It might be.
I don't know. Anyways, so guys, we have a special guest today as well. Mike Felch brought one of his buddies. Please welcome Brian to the show. What's up, Brian?
How's it going?
It's going well, man.
Well, long time listener. I'm just glad to be able to get back and participate.
Awesome. Well,
Yes, I
thanks.
think I've known Brian since like 1999, 1990, sometime around there.
Yep. So like the late '90s.
Oh, so Brian knows all the dirty stuff. All the
He
And then- Yeah, we had a lot of fun back then.
we won't talk about that
and then
anymore.
I think, yeah, and I think we kind of went both our own ways in life, and then reached out to Mike after I got done with my school, and I'm like, hey, I want to get back into computers and mining, and here we are today.
Very cool. Glad to have you on board.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, so feel free to chime in whenever, and we'd love to hear your thoughts on all this stuff. I think we kind of have our own little echo chamber a lot of times now because we talk about a lot of the same stuff. We would love to get some outside opinions on some of these things. So as we're going through it, feel free to jump in.
Will do.
Alrighty, so let's go ahead and I guess we can talk about some numbers, which it's actually been a pretty good week, guys. It's been a pretty good week for cryptocurrency numbers. I was telling Brian and Mike right before we got on the show, like I was going through my Feedly list of blogs I think it was this weekend when it happened, and I saw one. It was like, well, the cryptocurrency market just jumped $20 billion in an hour, and I was like, what? So I went and looked, and I just see this straight up spike. And so Bitcoin,
Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah, Bitcoin's up to 7,400. I think it got up to 7,600 for bit there.
Mm-hmm.
The whole market cap overall is up to 287 billion. Ethereum's up to 468, and Ripple's at 47 cents. But
so I could be wrong, but I would attribute some of this. I guess there were some maybe not regulatory hearings, but Capitol Hill hearings. They were talking about cryptocurrency and stuff, and they kind of just like brushed it off, like, nah, it's not worth our time. And I think the market kind of reacted to that as like, yay, no immediate regulation coming down or anything like that. So there's a few things. Some coins have been listed that have gotten quite a boost lately. I think we'll talk about some of those on the show. And it's just been overall a good week for the market, just for the fact that there's I don't think an exchange was hacked this week, was there?
I know, like that's crazy, right? How is that even possible?
Where they were, they just haven't been found out yet.
True.
Yeah, that's probably true. They were like 4 exchanges were hacked. We're not going to find out for another 3 months. So.
Yeah. So along that same lines of what you're saying with regards to the regulatory hearings and increasing the price, the other thing I saw was that Coinbase they announced that they are exploring the addition of a few different coins to Coinbase, including Cardano, Basic Attention Token, Stellar Lumens, Zcash, and Xerx coin. So that I remember we were throwing that in the chat, and then we were watching CoinMarketCap that same day, and all 5 of those were spiking right after that. Actually, before that, so that was kind of odd coincidence there. So.
Yeah, I've been watching ZRX for a while, and I've been wanting to get into it, but in order to get it, you have to basically use ETH to get it, and all my coins are elsewhere, not in ETH right now. So I've been like trying to scramble to put some stuff together because I've wanted to have it for a while, but unfortunately, I think I missed that first bump. So I kind of shot myself in the foot waiting too long to convert some of my assets, but. Oh, well, so goes the crypto game. You can't, unless you can atomic swap or do some on chain asset trading. It's kind of hard to switch between your assets, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. So
you have to sell one to buy another, to trade another, to get Bitcoin, to purchase another one. But ZRX looks pretty cool because you can actually basically trade anything with it. You can, I think they call it wrap, where you can wrap ETH with this token, and it'll allow you to trade for anything else on the marketplace. So,
nice,
pretty interesting stuff.
Very cool. Yeah, the thing that I found kind of interesting with the Coinbase announcement is that they basically they weren't saying that they're coming out with adding those coins to Coinbase.
Mm-hmm.
They're announcing that they're going to look into the possibilities of adding them because they wanted to be so far ahead of like the speculation. Because like whenever Bitcoin Cash got added to Coinbase, it broke Coinbase.
Well, yeah, I mean, you think about, there's different ways to go about that. We might do it. And then Gemini came out with Zcash trading recently, and they didn't have any. There was no warning. There was no prep for that, and it spiked that coin quite a bit. So yeah, I don't know if they're just trying to keep that from happening, or if, like you said, if it's just a purely infrastructure thing to where they don't want it to break on day one. I don't know.
Well, there's always been a lot of conversation about adding Ripple, with it being like the number 3 cryptocurrency, but they didn't say they're going to try to add that or even look into it. So I guess they're not even looking into Ripple. So that's kind of a interesting shot in the foot there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, might see Cardano on Coinbase. I'm happy about that. Alrighty. Well, I suppose we can move into the coin security news for the week. We've got just a couple stories this week, and we've got a couple other sections to go through that should be a little bit more fun, I think. And actually, I think both these stories came from Steve. So, Steve, if you actually want to kind of like just run this section, it's all yours, man.
Sure. So the first one is basically talking about cryptojacking falling in the second quarter. And this is an article from ccn.com, posted on July 19th. So saying cryptojacking falls in the second quarter, coinciding with crypto bear market, says research. So what they're saying, according to Malwarebytes Labs in the second quarter report, is that there's a lull in cybercrime and ransomware, and they're kind of attributing it to the crappy market. Although they also say at the same time that the malware sophistication has been rising. So
then maybe they're just
I don't know if that's I don't know if that's and we have another article we're going to talk about in a second that is about more advanced and sophisticated malware that's cryptojacking and spreading on internal networks. So I think maybe detections are rising, and were rising for a while and kind of squashing it as AV vendors and stuff like that really started picking up on XMRig and other mining software. They're all mostly instantly flagged. Even my PowerShell mining script is flagged by AV now. So I think it's just gotten harder for people to spread their mining software because of those detections like AV and stuff like that. So they're talking about how backdoor detections have increased. So not just a miner being stalled, but this is like we're talking full compromise. So there's a C2 involved as well.
So real quick on the fact that the detections have died a little bit. Do you think that we'll see mining malware and ransomware kind of come in waves with the price of cryptocurrencies?
I think that's one factor is the price of cryptocurrencies, and then the other factor is the mineability, the difficulty level. So as Monero difficulty goes up, a lot of those mining campaigns will switch to other coins. In the past, we saw them switch to Electronium, and then Electronium's price tanked and the difficulty shot up because of ASICs, which I think kind of killed the cryptojacking market as far as mining Electronium is concerned, on CPUs at least. I haven't really heard of any real targeted cryptojacking campaigns targeting GPU users. I think that would be kind of hard to spread and specifically target GPUs.
Unless you targeted the gamers.
Yeah, sure. Which I'm sure has been done.
Well, I mean, we've seen some stuff recently where Unreal had some remote code execution vulnerabilities. I mean, I could see. I mean, if you're looking at the sophistication of these attacks coming out, and I mean, when you're just looking at them, and I know we'll talk about one in a minute, but I mean, they're using legit means to compromise, and these are pretty much cutting edge red teaming techniques. So the TTPs that they're using are stuff that only a selected audience would really be able to kind of be able to leverage. And so if you think about it from that perspective, the attacker, if you were going to classify that adversary or whatever, they would be able to identify stuff like the Unreal remote code execution and then be able to piggyback off that to go after gamers, and then potentially even hit. I mean, I'm thinking obviously this is kind of one of those bad ideas again, but taking it from the perspective of, well, what happens if you hit like a game server Unreal and then hit a bunch of IP addresses that are on there of all the gamers, and then kind of leverage that in order to compromise, hundreds of GPUs kind of with one payload.
It's like a watering hole.
That'd be really bad. Yeah, it'd be really bad. But I could see that being a pretty bad idea.
Yeah, I could see a watering hole be a vector for targeting GPU users, certainly. So yeah, I think the whole, like I said, it's getting tougher as detections and protections come out and awareness comes out of these mining campaigns and stuff like that. People are protecting their networks, which is a good thing. The sophistication has to go up, and the mineability of things is going down. So based on difficulty levels and whether or not it's even, worth it to mine on CPUs anymore.
I actually just saw that Cisco Talos actually just put out a white paper detailing how to go about blocking cryptocurrency miners in the network.
Oh, nice. Hopefully they were referencing bad packets.
Yeah.
He had some good bits on blacklisting. Yeah, blacklisting pools and stuff like that. All right, so on to the next article. We have, hang on here, let me pull it up. We have one from Red Canary, which is a notable red teaming service. They do, I don't think, maybe some incident response. They do a lot of detection articles and stuff on redcanary.com/blog. This one was posted on July 12th. It's called Mining Off the Land, Crypto Mining Enabled by Native Windows Tools. So if we're pen testers on the show mostly and red teamers, and we hear off the land, and it's usually operating off the land using native Windows or Linux tools to operate inside an environment maliciously. So what they've been seeing is that the threat actors have been using red team tactics and techniques and procedures to basically perform mining campaigns. So they're using Squibbly-Doo, which, if you're not familiar with that, it's using a program called RedServe32 that you can use on Windows to download and execute code natively in memory. So you can basically, if you've got a way to deliver any kind of code execution to a target, say via a phish or a remote code execution through a web service or something like that, what they're doing is they're using a Redshift 32 to call, I believe it's a malicious PowerShell base64 encoded command, which drops a PS1 and runs that, invokes it with IEX. Actually, invokes it remotely over HTTP. But I think what was cool about this one is we haven't seen a lot in past ones is they're using custom WMI subscriptions, event subscriptions to basically stay persistent and run the mining code. So I don't know if anybody else, have you guys seen any other mining malware that's used WMI event subscriptions? I can't remember any.
Not at all. I only see this stuff in the InfoSec world. I mean, these are techniques that are. I mean, these are pretty relevant to our world. So it actually kind of. I mean, if you were thinking about it from just looking at it and trying to fingerprint the type of attacker, obviously you can't say, definitively who it is, but you could definitely paint a picture of the type of attacker it is and what their comfortable level is with like PowerShell. And I mean, and even when I'm on an engagement and I might use these techniques, I'll use Redshift 32 and I'll use download and execute PowerShell cradles. But I never use the same methodology because I'll either forget or it'll be patched or endpoints will start picking it up. So I always have to go back and kind of recreate my process for whatever's there, and also depending on the client and the fact that they're using all of this in the way that they are, I think it kind of paints a little bit of a picture on the type of person that's behind it. I mean, they have a comfortability level with the techniques, with the bypasses, with the reason why not to go to disk and go straight to memory. And then also on the mining side, they know obviously evidently how pools work and how mining works and how it all works together. So it definitely, when you start looking at it from that perspective and see what the tools they're using and even the pools that they're connecting to, it's really intriguing.
Yeah, the thing I don't understand is with the sophistication of that piece of malware, why are they making direct connections to the pools, like nanopool.org? Like they're literally just making a direct network connection to that. Like, why don't they proxy the miner through, like another categorized domain or something?
I mean, or another compromised host, it works. That's
why they're doing it. But I mean, you're right, though. I mean, eventually, as people are like, you know what, we've got our blacklist of all the mining pools. Let's, lock them all down. Then they're gonna be like, all right, we need to tunnel through. Yeah.
It doesn't. I guess it doesn't really matter which way it goes, right? Because if you go straight to the pools and they develop IOCs on the pools, then they're just going to proxy out and then proxy that to another one. If you go straight to a proxy and they create IOCs for that, you're never actually hitting the pool directly, so they won't be blacklisted. So I guess it's one of those cat and mouse games.
Yeah. So it says they were also, so we've seen this before in some spray and pray download cradles and stuff where they'll attempt to kill any other miners that are running. And that's what we see quite a bit, is that miners are kind of stepping on each other, or threat actors are stepping on each other as they're compromising hosts. So this one, they actually use find string to check if any processes have Kryptonite running, so that they're mining basically Monero, and they'll kill those miner processes and then start their own mining process. So that's normal. But what we see in here also is that while mining, they also scan the local network for other hosts with 445 open. That's SMB, server message block. So WannaCry did this before. They wanted to note. So it's stealing credentials in memory. I believe it's using Mimikatz, invoke Mimikatz to do that, and then spread laterally to any other hosts on the network with 445 open with the credentials that it finds in memory. So that's another, like Mike said, red team tactic or whatever. Certainly, maybe not the automation, but when you're spreading mining malware, you want that automation, I would assume. So this thing will hit a network and then scrape memory for clear text passwords, and then attempt to basically pass the hash and execute the miner on other hosts within the network as well. So overall, pretty advanced. Easy to spot if you're in a corporate environment where you have command line logging and stuff like that running. You should see that squibbly do 2 as the initial compromise point pretty easily, and these PowerShell download cradles. What's harder to see, though, is the WMI permanent event subscriptions, though you can scan the network for them using like SIM suite or something like that. It's a little bit more intensive. So these guys have definitely done their homework on how to penetrate networks, and I think they're doing a pretty darn good job. Obviously, at some point, somebody's going to catch on, so that's Red Canary. I don't remember where they initially spotted this from, though.
Yeah, what's also interesting is that, you could apply this exact same techniques to not just mining. I mean, if you wanted to do just about anything else, right? Insert where you want to go here, right? The framework for how they're making their attack is all the same. So,
right.
You can do more than just mine. That's what I'm trying to say. But that's what they've decided to, roll with as their way to monetize it.
I mean, we've talked about that before. Like when we first started doing this podcast, it was ransomware, and I guess that wasn't lucrative enough, so everybody switched to mining instead.
Yeah,
it's crazy. It's either that or they're scamming, right? It seems like that's the big new hotness as well. So if it's not cryptojacking and it's not mining, they're scamming, and all these new coins are coming out, and new teams are coming out, and it's hard to identify kind of what's a good coin to kind of go either to mine. And I mean, I was talking to Brian about this because this is one of the areas I think he's pretty smart in when it comes to like the mining. What do you do, Brian, whenever you're looking for kind of like whether a coin or a team behind a coin is going to be kind of a legit one to go after? I mean, I know you switch coins a lot whenever you're mining and you're kind of going after the altcoins, but what do you kind of look for?
So, good question. There's about a handful of things that I look for. One of the most important ones is does their website look legit? Do they put work into it? Does the use case that they're trying to do make sense? Is a blockchain required for it? Then I usually go on their Discord and try to look at their developers and see how, for lack of better words, professional they are. Do they interact with the people on the Discord well and answer like any questions about their future status? You try to look at like what does the coin offer for a miner, especially if they're trying to do like a pre-sale or a masternode sale. It's usually a pretty big red flag. If the rewards are like stacked heavily for a masternode, like 80% masternode, 20% miner, and then there's a large like pre-sale for the masternodes on there, that's kind of that's a really big red flag. And if there's only like one or two people on their so-called, I'll air quote, their dev team, it's generally a big red flag too. So, if pre-mine, if there's a large pre-mine and like their very first step is to get listed on an exchange, it's kind of another big red flag.
Right.
So,
and that's mainly because they're trying to get much money up front rather than try to invest in kind of like a long-term strategy.
Yeah, well, the ones that I see the most is that, hey, we'll do a website, we'll create a coin, we'll have this great idea, we'll copy and paste somebody else's algorithm, we'll copy and paste the trend, and then we're going to sell our masternodes, 10 of them for 0.5 BTC a piece. And a week later, the devs disappear. and they got a whole bunch of BTC and just walked away.
Yeah, I think I fell somewhat victim to that. I was mining this coin called Zerum Cash for a while, even stood up 2 master nodes, and then all of a sudden one day the GitHub disappears, and and there went the whole project. So basically I've got a whole bunch of nothing.
It's hard though, because a lot of these coins that are coming out, they're really just forking. They're forking existing projects too, right? So I mean, even having a development team and seeing some decent code, I mean, they're all using, like, all the wallets are using this QT wallet, and all of their, it's just like a lot of these technologies that they're kind of throwing behind these coins. This is what I've noticed, at least from trying to get familiar with kind of what's out there and who's legit and what pools I should be mining against or mining with. It's kind of all at you, and without really doing what you were just mentioning, Brian, just kind of digging in, you can kind of get lost fairly quickly and mine either stuff that's useless or kind of be supporting scams indirectly.
We need to set up a site that just rates these guys.
Yeah.
The other thing you bring up about
account.
like even the
Sorry.
Yeah.
The other thing you bring up is pretty interesting, even about the wallet files. So you have these altcoins that want to do like a masternode sale, right? That's one aspect of like scamming. And then I saw maybe like a month ago there was a miner out there that I think it was called Delos Miner, that people were downloading it, using it, and then all of a sudden, like certain algorithm wallets where their coins were just disappearing, right? So that's another aspect of it. And then now, I think over the past couple of weeks, I saw some where they would post their Bitcoin announcement. The legit or the so-called legit coin would try to post their Bitcoin announcement, and then behind it, a day later or some time frame later, a scammer would post the exact same announcement again, but then he would change the wallet file, and in the wallet file was a Trojan. Or if you're not careful, I mean, you could get scammed if you want to buy a masternode. You can download a wrong miner and lose whatever coins you do have. Or if you want to try and stay on the forefront of it and you literally download the wrong link, you could have yourself a Trojan.
Yeah, that's interesting. I was just the other day trying to find the latest Z enemy, and I know it's like the closed source one, and I may or may not plan to throw it in IDA, but I I was looking for it, and it was not very straightforward. I mean, I found some on GitHub that were like cloned from or created repositories from the original release on Bitcoin Talk or something just weird.
You got to know a guy.
And, you get what?
Yeah, they have a Discord. I'm the guy. They have a Discord, and you go in there, and the link's in their Discord. I forget. I think it's on some file sharing site though. But yeah, it's totally closed source, and like you said, who knows what's in there.
Yeah, and then I see some of these other miners, and they're all forking the same miner and then adding their own algorithms, and so I don't know. It's really interesting. Just the whole mining economy. Now that I've gotten introduced to it and kind of messing with my miner and kind of overclocking and tweaking and trying to get familiar with some of the just the different techniques. I've learned a lot from the mining portion of it, and now I'm really digging into the technology behind it, and hopefully make a better difference over time, right? So
yeah, hey, Brian.
So I've got a good idea for you, Mike.
Go ahead.
I was going to say I got a good idea for you, Mike. Find a miner, open source, edit it, make it better. Put in your 1% or whatever dev fee that's in there to mine on your own pool, and then you could get rich just like Z Enemy.
yeah.
Oh yeah, and you got to think about if people aren't custom compiling these malware actors, especially this one from that we were just talking about from Red Canary, it actually updates itself from like XMRig's GitHub account, so it'll use the latest software. Well, if it's not compiling its own, that dev fee is in there. So every time they spread this thing, that dev fee is just getting pummeled with XMR.
That's an interesting problem.
Yeah, so write the best mining malware that you can. Just
It doesn't even have to be malware. Just write a miner. Do something, something different. Make a C# miner. And
exactly.
Put your dev fee in there.
Sounds like
I think Mike's brain just exploded.
Bad ideas episode.
No, yeah. So I was just thinking, like, yeah, I mean, if you're creating an open source miner with the intentions of having somebody kind of use it in their malware, then you're kind of already crossing that line anyway. So,
well, not with
you put it on your GitHub. Definitely don't use this in your malware. For the love of God, do not ever use this in your malware. I promise it won't be good for your malware. It definitely won't give you any rewards.
Yeah. And here's how you can invoke it remotely.
Yeah, exactly.
Every time, I'm surprised this show just has 1 million listeners.
Yeah. So, Brian, I was actually going to ask you. What resources do you use to find those new coins? To the ones that you're kind of referencing with like the masternodes, or like any coins that you decide to go mine. Do you have like websites you like to look at, forums, that kind of stuff?
Two things: the Bitcoin announcements, and there's a Discord out there that will post whatever new coin is being posted on Bitcoin Talk. So then I follow that Discord and I see whenever the new coins come out and they post the Bitcoin, they post their website, etc. And then I try to do research from there.
Okay, cool, awesome.
Do you recommend any Discords for people to join that are kind of public?
So the one that yes, the alt tank one, that's a pool. I recommend that one because there's usually quite a few people on there, and they're all relatively active as far as trying to find the next coin. And then they also help out whenever a coin seems good in one person's view. There's always more constructive criticism from somebody else. I've been wrong before. I'm like, oh yeah, I like this coin, and another guy will be on there and be like, no, it's a scam.
So you said alt tank?
Yep, alttank.ca.
Nice. Let me ask you this: Do you typically mine just to get the most of whatever coin and then hold it and then like hope for the values to go up, or do you try to mine the most valuable at a given time and then cash out to like another currency?
So I do the first. Try to mine a new coin as much as I can, or for whatever time allows.
Mm-hmm.
Print off the private key. So download the wallet software. Mine it for a month, a week. Print off the private key, store it in paper, and then hope that the value rises in a year.
Nice.
That's significant.
Yeah, Mike and I I think all four of us had a conversation about like the best way to just mine all the various coins without having to install everything. And I think we kind of came to consensus that doing printed wallets is probably the best way to do it.
That's the idea. If you're not gonna, if you're really just gonna mine and just kind of forget about it for a while,
mm-hmm.
That's really the best. In my opinion, that's the best idea.
Cool.
Now, if you wanted to, have a philosophy of mining and then selling, then obviously you mine what's most profitable and then you sell it on an exchange and you go about that way. I think that's good, but I want to look, my opinion is to look for the highest risk is the highest reward.
Yep.
Yeah, good stuff.
All right.
Hopefully in a year or so, I'll be able to pay off my mining rig.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a common misconception is people expect to just get rich like instantly mining. Like, oh, I'm just going to turn this thing on and it's going to be raining money.
Both told me I'd have my rig reimbursed in about 3 weeks.
I did not say 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Come on. I did not say 3 weeks.
I'm just kidding.
Saw that one coming.
Oh man. Okay. All right. So moving on. Looks like Mr. Steve Borosh is going to tell us about Digibyte.
Yeah. So again, as always, preface our coin talk with we're not telling you to go buy this stuff. We're not telling you to sell it. We're not telling you to do anything with it. We're just merely providing some information on something that we find interesting. So that brings us to Digibyte. Digibyte, if you guys have been looking at the market cap recently in the last couple of days, it's gone up considerably. Now, up considerably for Digibyte is from like 2 cents to 4 cents. So it's not worth a ton right now, but it's been around for a long time. It was actually Genesis in 2014. On January 10th of 2014, I believe it was a fork of Bitcoin Core with some modifications that we'll talk about. So it was kind of interesting. They hashed the headline of the day, which was Target data stolen on a website. So that was its Genesis hash. Some of the claims to fame for Digibyte is that it's much more resilient to 51% attack. This is is because it uses 5 mining algorithms. So you can mine using SHA-256, Skyne, Qubit, Gross, and S-Script. So depending on your hardware, you've got options on what algorithm you want to mine with. If you've got an ASIC, you can throw it at SHA-256. If you've got NVIDIA GPUs, you can use Skyne or Grossel. Or if you have a specific hardware for S-Script or Qubit, you could use those too. So it's pretty interesting. Now, they don't rotate or anything, so we've seen like Ravencoin and the X16R algorithm, which actually flips mining algorithms as you mine. This is you just pick one and you mine with it.
Hey Steve, quick question on the algorithm. So how does that work with so if they accept like SHA-256, which they're ASICs for, does that mean like if I'm mining with like one of the other algorithms that like I'm going to be basically like, I don't know, like not even close to the...
No, you compete with whatever mining algorithm you're mining with. Okay. So like if you go to, for instance, the blocksfactory.com, it's a mining pool, and they have all the Digibyte algorithms on there. You can see the different hash rates for the different algorithms. So like if you're on S-Script, you're mining with the ASICs, or if you're with SHA-256D, you're mining with the ASICs, and the hash rate for that right now is currently 19.69 petahashes a second.
Okay, I see.
Insane, yeah. Mm-hmm. So, and then compare that to 2.6 terahashes for the gross. I don't know how to pronounce GROESTL proof of work algorithm. So it's pretty interesting. Different ways to mine that. What else?
Didn't we see an attack recently on something like this where you could compete against a weaker algorithm, and there was like wasn't there a 51% attack or something that actually happened because they were able to manipulate the algorithm or something? I thought we talked about that.
Yeah, we did. I don't remember which coin it was, but they were able to, basically reduce the amount of hash rate on a specific algorithm. Yeah. Well, I don't believe it was Digibyte, though.
No, but I think it just reminded me of that with the algorithm competing.
So, yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
So they say that difficulty adjustments are protected on. They have some algorithm or some features called DigiShield and MultiShield, which helps keep the difficulty rating at a steady rate, so you won't see like spikes and jumps in the difficulty ratings. So that's pretty cool. And they also do SegWit. They've implemented SegWit for a long time, and so they can build on top of the blockchain without having to make any major code modifications to the core itself. And they also do 15-second block timing, so it's pretty fast speed for updating the blockchain. And so that's kind of the claim to fame it has. If you want to read more about it, you can go to digibyte.co. Apparently somebody bought out the digibyte.com, so they have digibyte.co. But the recent price jump, they attribute to CNBC coverage. It got some airtime on the CNBC. As you guys have known, they've been pretty cryptocurrency friendly, and they actually have segments and talk about cryptocurrency and trading and mining and all that stuff. So once they popped up on CNBC, there was an 18% spike in the Digibyte worth. So it's continued to go up. It was also listed on Cryptopia recently too. So more places to trade it, and that attributed to some of the spike as well. So it's been around a long time. It's pretty stable. I don't know whether, Brian, what your thoughts on this coin are. It's like I said, it's not worth very much. But it does have speedy transactions, does have SegWit, does have all the kind of cool things that you would want a coin to have. The resistance to attack and stuff like that. So I think it has a future. It's just taken a long time for it to get any kind of established base. So yeah,
I haven't.
Go ahead.
I haven't read much up on it, but just at a different perspective, if a coin is $100 and it goes to and it jumps to 200, there's a less likelihood if a coin is 100 to jump to 200 versus a coin that is like 2 cents to go to 4. So just from a little bit of a money perspective is that if the chance of a coin being at a few cents is higher to go from like 2 to 10, I'd be more than likely to look at it versus a coin that would be at $100 and then hoping it would go to 200.
Sure. So it's kind of that risk reward trade-off you were talking about earlier.
Exactly.
So full disclosure, do you have any of these coins?
I do. I do. I have some. I mine just about everything I can get my hands on. I feel like a baseball card collector, you know.
Hey, that actually brings up another great point. The MLB. Yeah. Oh yeah, the MLB's gonna have their own crypto kitties. They're basically they're making a Major League Baseball DApp on Ethereum, which will basically be exactly what you just said. It's going to be basically baseball cards on the blockchain. I'm like super excited about that, to be honest. I can't wait. I'm going to buy up all I can.
Well, so I'm gonna wait for it to get popular. I'm gonna fork it and then create the NBA version of that.
Well, yeah, but then the NBA is gonna like sue you.
That's okay. I mean, it's gonna be using some sort of open source Ethereum contract anyway, or something that's already been rewritten, so they're not gonna be able to like lock it in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was some speculation about like the MLB and like keeping their their rights and stuff, because like if you've ever watched a baseball game on TV, they always state like this broadcast can't be re-released on any other media or whatever. It's owned by the MLB. So there was this whole thing in one of those articles. I think you sent it, Mike, where they were talking about how they were trying to limit it to like a specific app or something. to view the DApp or to view the card or what? I don't even know what you call it. What do you call like the thing you buy?
That's a good point.
The digital asset. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's digital asset. Because Ravencoin is doing something similar to where you can trade assets on the chain. So
okay, so digital asset. So
Yeah.
they were talking about how I guess like there's a specific application that you're going to have to use to view the digital asset, which is like I think it's like a moment in time baseball player or something like something they did, and be able to trade them and whatnot. Whereas I think they said that CryptoKitties had something similar in their terms of service or whatever, but I guess there's a lot of other websites where you could like view them, and so like they're not too restrictive on it. I'm curious to see how restrictive MLB will be. They'll actually like
but the more restrictive it is, the less likely people are going to be able to view it, which means the value of it's going to be more than likely higher.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that's interesting too is I'm taking you are a card collector. Or you are a card collector?
Well, was collecting.
Okay, so I used to be as well, and one of the biggest things was always keeping it in mint condition.
Yes.
You don't really have to do that now. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it is. It is weird. I mean, I guess the cool thing is it's unique, right? I mean, it's like no one else can have the same one, right? Which does that make it? I mean, yeah, I guess that. I'm trying to think like in terms of baseball cards, right? Like, I mean, if there's only one like Ken Griffey Jr. rookie card, would that be worth more if only one person could have it, or if there's 10,000 of them and then like they're just rare, right?
Yeah. So the rarity is how the cards work, right? So you'd have your complete sets. Most of your complete sets were normal cards. They were pretty much printed the same. Throughout, right? So, and then the rare cards were the ones like the holograms and all the other ones that came out kind of like embedded in packs at random, and they were few and far between in comparison to the complete sets.
So that actually makes it really interesting. Like, I wonder if they'll do like packs or like mystery kind of stuff, right? Or if it's just going to be like CryptoKitties, right? Where you just like you pick one and buy it. Because that would actually make it really interesting if it's like a pack, right? Like you open it up and you just get whatever, you go
through. You just buy a pack. Dang, that would actually be pretty cool.
Yeah.
And we used to do and then you could do stuff like we used to play games like Pack Wars. Did you ever do Pack Wars? Like where you'd have like they'd have a big pack party. And so you'd come and you'd buy like a box of a specific card, and then you go through the packs. And so you would have a pack of yours, and I'd have a pack of mine, and we would see whoever has the highest card in that pack gets both packs.
Okay.
Kind of like on the gambling side, but we used to do it. It was fun.
I've done that with like Magic the Gathering cards, like buy a couple boxes of Magic the Gathering and then just go to town, make a deck on the spot.
Nice.
I'm surprised. I threw a link up for this MLB thing, so we can put this on the site for people to check out.
Cool.
It came from a Yahoo Finance article, actually, is where it stemmed from.
It was on the Verge too. What do you call it? I'm surprised we haven't seen more dApps for gambling yet. I mean, I'm sure there are some. So, I mean, I haven't been diving in. I'm not really a gambler, but.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, I mean, a long time ago they had it wasn't a DApp, but I mean, there's been plenty of like, what was it, Satoshi dice? I think was one like back in the day. Like it was a Bitcoin one. Like you roll the Satoshi dice. It was a Bitcoin gambling site.
Yeah, I used just dice too. That was pretty interesting. It was like really low, like house take. So like the odds were in your favor, but I mean, you could definitely lose a lot. I mean. One roll away from losing a lot, but.
Well, guys, I think we have kind of hit the time here. Brian, thanks so much for hanging out with us. If there's anything else you want to chat about, yeah, if there's anything else you want to chat about, now's the time.
I want to help out Mike and fix his issue with his breaker.
Yeah. So I think the solution is I'm going to move the rig. So I think it's also the power strip. I don't think it's. So I'm using a power strip into a smart meter, so I can monitor the consumption, the power consumption remotely. And so what's happening is I think I'm pulling too much power for the strip that I have. It's slightly under rated for the overclocking. If I just run it regular and don't overclock, I'm fine, but it actually pulls more when I overclock. So right now I'm running it. I mean, I'm slightly overclocked, but it's not causing a problem. It's when I overclock it more and it pulls too much. So I actually ordered a new one from Amazon. It should be here probably tomorrow, but it's a nicer one. It's one of those what's it called? Trip lights, but it's rated much higher, and it was a little expensive. So I'm hoping that this will resolve it, because it's the only thing that's on that wall, pretty much. But I do think I'm going to move it into another room. I have like a kind of like another room within the garage, and while it's extremely hot out here, that room is sealed. And it has seals pretty much everywhere. And I'm going to throw like an AC unit in there straight out through the window and then kind of do it kind of from that perspective. So I think that's kind of the two things that I'm going to focus on. Hopefully that'll save the protection from throwing every time.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was a little bit worried when you said it was crashing. I was worried that it was actually tripping the breaker. And then that would lead me to believe that you may have something else on that circuit.
Yeah, no, it's tripping the breaker on the surge protector.
Oh, okay. All right.
So
Yeah.
you should be using a 20 amp at least for mining. Have you switched yours out yet?
No.
Yeah, you're probably on 15 standard, right?
It's a good point. Yeah, whatever standard is.
Yep.
But
So we've had that.
You just have to swap out the receptacle then, or what?
No, just the actual fuse itself in the breaker. So just buy a bigger one, 20 amp rated, and wherever you have your mining rig hooked up, throw that in there.
That's interesting. That's an interesting problem, though. That's it's not throwing the breaker though. It's not throwing the actual breaker to the house.
Oh, I thought,
it's throwing the
that's
breaker
what I thought.
on the surge protector. Nah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if you've already disabled Defender, then just take the breaker off.
Yeah, no, might as well. Malware in and fires go.
Yes.
No, yeah, definitely get a breaker. Hang on, let me tell you what I got real quick. I've got mine plugged into a thing on the wall. It's actually I don't know who makes it, but it's an Amperage Detector, and also you can put in what your kilowatt per hour is, and it'll calculate how much money you've been using over the month.
Yeah, so I have one of those, but it's so I have that, and that one seems to be pretty accurate. Like right now, I'm only pulling 952 watts, and then it gives me the ability to. I mean, I could actually control it, so I could throw the power if I want. But it also gives me a history, like a daily consumption history, and then how much it costs based on the kilowatts that I'm running.
Can you see where it's killing at?
Yeah, so that's what I was trying to do. The problem that I ran into was this is only showing a breakdown by the day. And I need it kind of by the hour in order to kind of see where it was peaking. But I know it's when I'm overclocking because I ran it and I could see, like I just run it normal and everything's fine. And I overclock it halfway, it runs fine, but it starts, the surge protector light starts kind of like flickering.
Right.
And then if I go full overclock, that maybe just...
So you have two power supplies though, right?
Yeah, I'm running two 1000s, but they're not maxed out.
Sure, but you should do two surge protectors, I think, then. Split it.
Well, I bought a trip light. It's a nicer one, and it'll work for the power that I'm using.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. We'll see. It's like 3330 joules. So I don't know. We'll see if this fixes the problem. If not, I'm moving this baby.
Nice. All right, guys. Well, we need to wrap this thing up. You know, we last week we mentioned the Central Sec Slack channel. We already have 9 people in there, dude.
Woohoo! Woo!
It's crazy.
Yeah, 4 of them are us.
Yeah, well, I think 5 technically because Ralph's in there twice.
Well, I forgot my password, man.
I wasn't gonna say that, but yeah.
You shouldn't have to remember your password.
Honestly, I went to sign back in. And it's like, this is not an email address. You shouldn't have to remember your password. I wrote it on my laptop, and somehow it got erased. Someone took the Post-it.
It was underneath the keyboard.
It was underneath the keyboard, and my wife cleaned up, and now I have no password. So I had to change the password on all my websites.
Wait, hold on, wait. You taught
Try
your
summer
wife
2018.
how to. Okay.
No, I mess with people. I make it summer 2020, and they'll never get it.
Yeah.
We'll get it in 2 years.
No, because I change it.
Your wallet password worked from 2 years ago.
Well, I mean, whatever. I didn't need that money.
Well,
yeah, but we are on Central Sec. Central Sec chat. It's CoinSec podcast is the channel. Come join us and have fun and I don't know, do whatever Slack people do.
I'm still learning myself, so yeah.
You have to start by enabling it.
Yep. It's I downloaded the app. I got it. Yep.
You got Jiffy too.
Yes, that's the most important thing, actually. It's like roulette. It's like a GIF roulette.
So yeah, you can set it so that you can shuffle it, like if you don't get what you want when you. Yeah.
Well, I think it's more fun that way.
I could do it the other way too, but I don't know. Sometimes it's super irrelevant.
That's what's funny, though. That's okay. All right. Well, follow us on Twitter at CoinSec Podcast. Keep an eye on coinsecpodcast.com for links from the show. Subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcast app, and if you like the show, leave us a review. Thanks, guys, for hanging out. We will catch you guys next week. We'll see where the prices go. Are they going to stay at 7,400? Who knows? Got to listen to the next episode to find out.
To the moon.
Yes.
There's a blue light special on aisle 5.
Later, guys.
See you.
Later.
All right, bye.